So, James, what are we doing today?
Hi everyone, I'm going to be looking this way because driving is quite important. We are on our way to do a 2 big band recording at New College in Oxford at their rather lovely new auditorium come recital hall called the New Space.
Okay.
This is through a guy I've worked with before. He's actually a great drummer. I really hope he's playing on this gig. But it's 2 different big bands. It's the Durham University Jazz Orchestra and a local Oxford band called the Donut Kings. So 2 different bands. They're doing the mother of all sets, and we are recording it and doing front of house PA and all that sort of stuff for them. Hence the redonkulous amount of gear in the back of my car.
Okay, and what sort of recordings are we going to produce?
So, we are both audio and video recording the gig. And there's 2 kind of recording setups, if you like, which are going to be synced and linked and all that sort of stuff. We have a conventional close mic system, which is running through my Mackie DL32R, and that's going to be running the PA and the kind of the vocal mics and all the horn mics, things like that. We then have a second rig, which is 16 channels, and I don't have 16 fingers, so I can't do that. 16 channels of an immersive system, which is going to feature the Voyage audio spatial mic, DANTE, provided by and run by our friends at Emerging UK. The Voyage audio spatial mic is an immersive stroke 3D audio microphone. It features 8 capsules and outputs to 8 channels, which can then be, via its very clever software plug-in thing, convert down to stereo. It can bounce down to 5.1, 7.1, Dolby Atmos formats, and it can output binaurally, or it can output to ambisonics. Don't ask me about ambisonics, I don't understand it yet.
Okay, so with the Voyage audio mic, with our mid-side mics and our rear mics in the room, what are you then going to produce?
So, from a client point of view, they want the audio recording, mixing, conventional stereo, and I'm going to do them a couple of videos of a couple of the better tracks, if you like. Then what we'll do is we're going to produce an Atmos mix featuring the Voyage audio and the sides, and we'll kind of work out what sounds best, because in the crazy world that is immersive audio, 3D audio, call it what you like, there appear to be no rules, and I like that. So we're going to try and do a mix with just the immersive mics, because obviously the Voyage will give us a 360 coverage and a kind of a good coverage of the band. I've not heard these 2 bands, so I can't say for certain how good they are or how in tune they're going to be, if there would need to be any fixing. Obviously it's a live gig, so that's kind of more difficult, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get a great response from just the Voyage mic with some kind of extra stuff, some sides, height mics, and then a stereo pair at the back, and then we'll blend the immersive rig in with the close mics and see what happens. So funnily enough, I'd never actually met Jake from Emerging in real life, so it was great to work with him on this project. He brought with him the Voyage audio mic, and quite frankly, he'd also drawn the short straw because he gets to work with me, and I'm not afraid to get people to work the moment they set foot in the door. So once he'd pretty much put his bags down, he was out setting up microphones. These were the 2 Sontronics Saturns, which we used as the kind of mid-side mics for the immersive array. Basically, I left Jake to run the immersive side of things because he knows that stuff, and he's far better at that than I am. This is me doing my very best to make sure the overheads were in phase. The drum overheads we were using are AIM Audio Inspire mics, the new ones that I helped design, and they sound stunning for drum overheads. They just sound absolutely fantastic. But of course, it's all important to get the mics in phase. Now, running the front of house as well as doing the recording was a challenge, so I kind of took control a little bit and got things going. We started with the horns and then put the brass to that. So one of the best things about the Mackie DL32R is that it is fully iPad controllable. So I'm able to sort of actually move around the room and hear the mix in all areas of the space, rather than just be locked to, you know, a booth at the back hidden away somewhere. I like getting in amongst the band, hearing what they're hearing, working out, you know, what their monitor mix needs to be, and sorting out problems in the room. Microphone wise, I used Slate ML2s for the trumpets because these are modelling mics and I could choose kind of what model to impart later on in the mix. We had some Audio-Technica ribbons and a shiny box ribbon on the trombones, and for the other band who had a bass trombone, I used the Sontronics DM1B bass drum mic. Then on the saxes, I was primarily using JZ microphones. We had a JZ Amethyst on the altos, JZ BB28 on the tenors, and an EV RE320 on the baritone sax. It's a dynamic mic, but it sounds absolutely phenomenal on real sort of low-end saxes. Now, this is not the largest room in the world, as you can imagine, as you kind of see from the footage, but it sounds really good. But of course, you put 4 trumpets in a smallish room, then it's going to be loud. 4 trumpets and a drum kit in a small room, it's going to get really loud. So while the trumpet mics were there for the recording, we weren't putting much of them out front, nor, to be honest, the trombones, because they were giving it some serious stick as well. But the saxes were also going through, and certainly when they stood up for solos, because of proximity, we were getting a bit more of them through the rig. One of the things I really loved was a track called Carousel, which featured oboe. Yes, jazz oboe, you heard it here first. One of the cool things we worked out as we were going along was because my Mackie DL32R has the optional DANTE card installed, we could almost have a redundant recording system, which was really handy. So my Pro Tools laptop was attached to the DL32R directly, capturing 32 channels of kind of direct signal. Then we assigned all the inputs from the 32R to come out of the DANTE port and routed that to the immersive system. So we had 32 channels going in there, plus the 2 Sontronics, the stereo Vanguard mic, which we had at the back of the room, the V44S, and the Voyage audio mic. And so the immersive system was capturing everything as a backup, which was really handy. And of course, it's all totally in sync. Both bands had vocalists, and it was really important. You know, one of the things I hate about seeing any band is knowing they've got a vocalist but not being able to hear them. So it was really important for me to get the vocal to sit on top of the mix nicely. Yes, it's a very acoustic environment. You know, you've put 18 people, many of whom are playing acoustic instruments in a space. You've got to work hard to get the vocal to sit on top. But actually, we were really lucky. All the vocalists could project and could make a lot of noise while still sounding vocally pleasant, which is always good. And yeah, it made it an absolute joy. I'm one of these engineers who likes to play the delays all the way through. I won't just set things up and let it go, because I think as an engineer, you have to play the song as well. You have to play the track, you have to work the solos, you have to follow everyone, what's going on, and yeah, just go along with it. The audio you're hearing here is off the camcorder. This is not the recorded audio, thank goodness. So it was great to have Jake involved, and he was my safety net, if you like. He was just able to make sure everything was happening, only worrying about the audio recording, which was great. I'm running around trying to do front of house, set up cameras. Greg was with me as well, Greg Farah, or Larry North, as many of you know him. Great team. I would work with those boys again in a heartbeat. One of the things I love about live recording is that's it. You get one shot at capturing it, so you have to be right, you have to get it down. Sometimes you get some amazing moments, sometimes you get the occasional blooper, for lack of a better phrase. But you have to work with what you've got. There's no going back and fixing it afterwards, because you can't. You can't tune the second alto if they're slightly out of tune, because you can't. Every mic has every instrument in it. You know, they're very, very compact up on stage. It was very tight. In my opinion, it was too tight up there. But you work with what you've got.
There was a lot to get in, an awful lot to set up in not enough time, quite frankly. But we made it on in time, give or take. Everything worked, give or take. And this is one of the tracks we recorded. It's called A Few Good Men, and it sounds like this.